Number 16. Which angle has a negative sine value and a negative cotangent value? So I'm going to first start by figuring out where are all these angles located. And I'm going to remind you that when we start graphing, we start from the positive x-axis, and we say that's 0. This is pi over 2. This is pi. This is 3 pi over 2. And if we went all the way around, this would be 2 pi. And so another way of thinking about this is you could say this is 0.5 pi. This is 1 pi, and this is 1.5 pi. And again, all the way around would be 2 pi. Now, let's talk about where these would be located. If you're not sure, what you do is, this is like 1/7. You go to your calculator, and from your calculator, you would press 1 divided by 7, and if you put the little decimal there, that'll give you as a fraction, as a decimal. And so we know it's 0.14 is in between 0 and 0.5, and so the first answer, choice A, is somewhere over here. This is where pi over 7 would be located, is in the first quadrant. And then 5 pi over 8, if, again, since it's a little bit more than a half, but yet less than 1, will be over here in this second quadrant. I'm just going to put it up this way and say this is 5 pi over 8. And again, if you're not sure, what you do is you take the numbers over here, say, okay, what is 5 divided by 8? And put that decimal, 0.625. So 0.625 is in between 0.5 and 1, so it's over there. So that's answer choice B. C is 4/3 pi, which would be over here. If we know our hand trick, then we know that that's 4/3 pi right here. Excuse me. Not right there, but actually down here. This would be 4/3 pi. And you can again divide it like this. And so that's 4/3 pi. 4 pi over 3. And then finally, 9 pi over 5 is nearly 2. That's actually 1.8. So that would be over here somewhere. This would be 9 pi over 5. Over here. And I'll just show you 9 divided by 5, and you put the decimal, it's 1.8. So that's how we get these values. So now we want to figure out, now that we know where the answer choices are located, which one has a negative sign and a negative cotangent? Well, sine is y. That means this has a negative y value. So upon that information, we can go over here to the first quadrant and second quadrant and remove those because that has a positive y. A negative y occurs down here in these two quadrants. So we know the answer has to be down this way. And when it says negative cotangent, now remember that's cotangent is x over y. And so cotangent and tangent we found out are positive here and here because of the saying all students take calculus. And the t's are over here because they're both a negative y and a negative x. Since this quadrant has a negative y and a negative x, the cotangent would turn positive, or that's the tangent there. The cotangent would be positive. We want a negative, so it actually isn't going to be there at all. So this quadrant is out. I'll flip this because this is a plus for, a negative, keep putting y on top, I'm sorry, negative x over a negative y equals a positive x over positive y. And so that's not there. It's actually going to be here because we have a negative y and a positive x. That's a negative cotangent. So this one would be the answer here. Now, a way to check your answers, come over here and we'll go to trig. We said the sign, and we think our answer is 9 pi. And anytime you use the calculator and you press that pi symbol inside a trig function, put the r with it till it's radians over 5. Notice we got a negative answer. I'm going to do it again. This time I'm just going to change this to sin, the sign at the front, and I'm going to change that to cot for cotangent. Notice they're both negative.